Hello from Darlington, South Carolina, home to Darlington Raceway and home to NASCAR history. It's a throwback weekend in South Carolina. How about the Richie Evans scheme? That's the car of Patrick Emmerling. Chase Elliott, a champion, is back. He's hoping to throw it back to 2014 when he won here. And a couple of Dale Earnhardt schemes. Jeremy Clements, Justin Allgaier representing on a big weekend for NASCAR. A triple header 90 minutes from now. Truck Series coverage begins on FS1. Right now it's practice and qualifying for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. They race here in Darlington tomorrow. Our Fox weather, 85 now. There are some storms that could move through tonight, but we are hopeful Mother Nature does not rain on our parade. As you can see, the track is open and we are set for business with Michael Waltrip, who won here in 1992. I'm Adam Alexander. We go from Dover to Darlington. It's never easy, and Michael is here. He's won here. So is Regan Smith, who won in the Southern 500 11 years ago. Hey, Regan.
Well, good afternoon, Adam. And as you see behind me, the cars have rolled. They're on to the racetrack, making as many laps as they possibly can. Many teams wanting to go out there and get a 15-lap run if they can to try and get their drivers settled into a rhythm. If they can't make that happen, if they're not happy with the race car crew chiefs told me, there is enough time and there is enough tire for them to go ahead and maybe make one adjustment. But the goal would be to not have to make that adjustment, to run it straight through and know exactly where your race car is going to fall off for tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Regan, and that's a great feeling. If you hit the track and you love your car, you can string those laps together, simulate a longer run in the race. These tires are going to fall off. The cars are going to get slower and slower with each lap. But if you're good enough just to start and to hang out there, make those 15, 20 laps, that's a great start to the weekend.
You only get 20 minutes, so not a lot of time to get it buttoned up, as Regan talked about. But, Michael, when you think about the last couple of years, we didn't get any practice at all at Darlington for all the young drivers in the field this weekend. This 20 minutes like a bonus, an opportunity to go out and figure out some of the nuances of this very difficult racetrack.
Oh man, this is as tough as it gets. We talked a lot at at Dover last week about what all goes into a fast lap, the commitment you have to make. And here it's even more intense because you've got to run right out next to that outside wall. You have a lot of decisions to make. These spotters will be looking closely to see if they're going to run low in the corners, like you see the 23 car dipping down here, Anthony Alfredo, or are you going to slide up toward the wall on the high side? There's varying levels of grip, and it just depends on how your car is handling where you go to chase that grip.
Noah Gragson quick so far. Won this race last fall. Such a big portion of his late season rally. And a throwback to Bobby Allison. That's the 48. Tyler Reddick driving for Big Machine Racing this weekend. He'll also be driving that car at Texas in a couple of weekends' time. He's a two-time champion here in the Xfinity Series.
And he loves right where he's at right now, Adam. Out there just sliding along, nearly scraping that outside wall. That's the Tyler Reddick line. And to me, this sums up throwback weekend in Darlington. What a beautiful number 48 car that Big Machine Records has brought to the racetrack this weekend. And you can see no one's running any higher already. And is that a little contact off the wall off turn 4?
Let's call it a Darlington strike, Michael. Here are the numbers for Tyler Reddick. You think about what he's done all time, the 9 wins, but most impressive to me, the bottom line. Back-to-back championships, Michael, with 2 different teams. So impressive.
Well, when you talk about how tough Darlington is, you said 2-time champion back-to-back. This is just Darlington. Reddick running high off the turn. It tightens up off 4. He just skims along the outside wall. No harm, no foul. And if you had put odds down, Adam, that Tyler might be the first driver to pick up a Darlington strike, I'd say you probably got some pretty good odds.
You probably would have had to bet 100 to win 10, I think, on that bet.
See that top 5 there. Reddick's in that. Ty Gibbs with some really fast laps. We'll watch closely on the fall off, how much fall off there is. And it's interesting to me, these Xfinity cars with the composite bodies, they're running way higher already. All the cars are than we saw any of the trucks. That's a bit of a mistake there. Just overshot the corner. Joe Graff Jr., he's 15th fastest so far, but that was pretty good contact.
I think that's a hit.
Yes.
Not a stripe, right?
Yeah. There's a line you have to draw somewhere, Adam, and I think that was across it.
Joe Gibbs Racing, really good when it comes to Darlington. 11 wins here all time. One of them courtesy of this guy. Brandon Jones led 2 laps en route to victory lane a couple of years ago and won earlier this season in Martinsville, Virginia.
There's Gibbs. You see him bouncing off turn 2. Really rough. There's some new pavement over there. And the transition from the new to the old will really shake these cars around, as you saw there.
We'll hit as many of the throwback schemes as we can throughout this show and tomorrow during our race coverage, but this is one you have to touch on. It's the Interstate Batteries throwback to Bobby Labonte, who was just in studio doing NASCAR Race Up 2002. And what's really cool about this to me, Michael, 2002, the year Ty Gibbs was born, and he's driving that paint scheme this weekend representing the Hall of Famer.
That's just got to make so many people so proud. Interstate Battery, such a great partner to Joe Gibbs Racing. That's a good story there, Adam.
Gibbs is strong. He's 3rd on the board behind Noah Gragson and John Hunter Nemechek, who will start on the pole tonight in the Camping World Truck Series race on FS1. So many great aspects of Throwback Weekend, and it just reminds us of the many moments over the years, and this another history-making one here, Michael.
Just seeing Dale pulling that car into victory lane and remembering, you know, that was 82. I raced here for the first time in 85, Adam, and what a different animal this place was to me back in the day than it is now, sitting up in the booth watching these guys. But what a great car here Jeremy Clements has on the track with the tribute to Dale and that win with Bud Moore.
Yeah, and Bud Moore from Spartanburg, South Carolina. That's where Jeremy's from. And Larry McReynolds kind of has this rule that if you're going to run the throwback, the numbers should be the same. But from 15 to 51, I'm okay with that. And here's another Dale scheme. Justin Allgaier driving the 7 this weekend. Here's what he's saying on the radio.
I don't have a lot of security in 1 and 2, like landing all the way up through mid-corner. Once I get to the pass, I have a really good grip, but I'm a little bit like 4-wheel drift, but taking off with the back of the car first. To 3 and 4, like I land really good. I roll the center really well, and then from the center out, it's like the front tires just completely disconnect from the track, and I start getting really tight. I mean.
Well, then the good news about that, Adam, is he's 5th quickest so far and running some pretty decent lap times. But that just tells you what a veteran Justin is and how much he knows about his car and explaining exactly what he's feeling, whether it's the front end breaking loose or it's sliding up the hill, and communicating that. The more words you can use to your team about what you're feeling, they're going to be able to decipher more of what they can do in order to improve the car.
4 wins here all time for Junior Motorsports. 1 for Allgaier, 1 for this guy, Chase Elliott.
You know, that's not the problem. I lose my time later around. Like, I get there 1 and 2 okay, I feel like, but certainly landing hard throttle there in 3 as you're approaching 4, you know, 50% mark on to like 75%. It's hard to keep the front tires attached.
And let me just remind you, Adam, and the folks at home, he was sitting in the garage when he was saying those words. He wouldn't be out there fighting this track that's too tough to tame with that calm of a demeanor if he were driving. He was in the pit talking about what he was feeling and trying to explain to the crew, like I said earlier, in very, very great detail on what he needed to go faster.
He's calm, he's laid back, but he's not that calm and laid back.
That'd be Superman-esque things there if you could drive around Darlington like that.
Really cool to see the 88 back, though, and running a part-time schedule with Cup drivers. Chase Elliott this weekend. Going to see William Byron and Kyle Larson. And here's his young teammate, Sam Mayer, in the 1. A throwback to Rick Mast in that Skoal Classic car from the early 1990s.
Yeah, Adam, and Sam's got a little work to do. His teammates are all pretty good on the scoring pylon. He's all the way back in 24th. The young guy getting his legs under him here at Darlington, that's something you certainly understand, and that's why having such experienced veterans that he can lean on, like Justin Allgaier or Chase Elliott, those are guys that can really help this young driver. It looks like he's going to be needing some assistance after this session's over.
And he's without his safety valve. His crew chief, Taylor Moyer, suspended 4 races after that wheel came off last Saturday at Dover, filling in team engineer Andrew Overstreet. So they're trying to lay their foundation as we check in on Kyle Sieg, driving the 38 this weekend.
Kyle's laboring back in the 37th position on the scoring pylon, so need to pick up the pace there a bit. But oh, got a left rear down here.
47 is Brennan Poole. Practice in the Xfinity Series like driving through a small town. You blink and you miss it. Under 7 minutes remaining here at Darlington. USFL action continues tonight as the Philadelphia Stars battle the Michigan Panthers at 10 Eastern on FS1. Then tomorrow at 7 on Fox, Todd Haley's Tampa Bay Bandits get Skip Holtz and the Birmingham Stallions. And that game tonight at 10 follows the Camping World Truck Series race right here on FS1. We look forward to that live from Darlington. Let's talk a little colleague racing, right? Because right now all 3 of their drivers enter race 11 above the cut line and in a good position to make the playoffs. The best of the bunch, A.J. Allmendinger. And I'm talking about the standings, not today. He's 28th right now in the practice session.
I mean, it feels like the splitter is like way off the ground. Like it's like air's getting under the splitter, just like picking the car up when I go down the corner.
Yeah, I mean, that last run, I pulled an eighth or right front packer. I mean, it got down to it there. It touched that time, so we'll keep digging.
Yeah, I don't know what it is then. It's like the moment I turn the wheel, it's like I have zero downforce from the car.
And that's so frustrating, Adam, because that's the first thing you do when you get to the corner. You know, you go to turn on entry, and if the back isn't hanging out, that's one problem solved. But if it just does not turn, and the way he was describing the splitter being way up off the ground, that means that front nose just isn't down in the track. And I think the team confirmed that it had touched. It was touching the ground, so that's not the problem. Let's figure out what it is. But you've got to be able to turn when you enter the corners here at Darlington because of how hard you run through the center and out next to that outside wall.
While you were talking, Michael, I'm not sure that you noticed, but Noah Gragson went for an enormous slide. 23 laps so far in practice, Regan.
Well, Adam, that's exactly what Noah has been complaining about. That race car very skatey for him right now. In other terms, that means it does not have the grip that he wants through the corner. Not only Noah, who's top on the board, but if you go down through this list of drivers, I haven't found a happy one yet. I talked about on the top of the show, guys wanting to try and get a long run in. Very few and far between. I've had more cars on pit road, on and off pit road, working on race cars, and more unhappy drivers than I remember in a long time in the Xfinity Series.
I saw him slipping and sliding at him, and I'm telling you, from our viewpoint, there's a lot of them that are doing that. But this is just when you talked about, I talked earlier about the back end not being under him when you enter the corner. That's a great example of that. And Noah just really pushing the gas hard to see if he can keep that car just yawed out and not get sideways. But unfortunately, he couldn't do it. And here's another slip and slide for a colleague car off turn 2.
Michael, we're about to run out of time in practice. Analyze these numbers. Ty Gibbs, 27 lap run, 2.3 seconds of fall off. That's going to be pretty good tomorrow, right?
Let me describe a couple things to you, Adam. The way these cars are slipping and sliding and all that fall off and strategy, we're in for a real doozy come tomorrow afternoon. These racers are going to have to really roll the dice, maybe take a chance on when they do get tires and don't get tires to see if that strategy can help them get where they're going.
On board with Riley Herbst, and as you can see, the caution lights are on. The red and black flags have been displayed, and this practice session is done. Herbst ends up 12th, top of the board, Noah Gragson. It's just about time to qualify at Darlington. Xfinity Series practice complete at the Track 2 Tough to Tame Darlington Raceway. And leading the way in that 20-minute tune-up for qualifying in tomorrow's race, engine number 9, Noah Gragson. What do you see when you look at our top 10, Michael?
A lot of parity, Adam, and also on the fall-off. Some guys ran up to 20 laps, and we see just about a tenth of a second from the best, who's Ty Gibbs, to guys that are 7th or 8th in line. So that we talked about how the slipping and sliding and the tire fall off, all those things are making for a great race this weekend. Parity as well. We're seeing a lot of that in this session.
Junior Motorsports for the top 5 at Dover, for the top 7 in practice here. Let's go to Regan Smith.
Well, Adam, Michael was just talking about slipping and sliding and tire fall off, everything we talk about when we come to Darlington. One guy who knows a lot about that after practice, Ty Gibbs, you ran more laps than anybody consecutively. Happy with this number 54?
Yeah, you know, I think our Interstate Batteries throwback is pretty fast. I think we got a really good Toyota Giro Supra. We just got to see if we can get to turn a little better. We're a little bit tight right now, so I think if we can be able to turn a little bit better, I think we're going to be really good. I feel like we got shown speed, and I think we're really fast. So now we just got to have a good qualifying session here and go race it. But as we see in these high fall-off racetracks, I don't really think practice and qualifying matters. Only thing that matters is if your car is good in the long run.
Good luck. Thanks, Ty.
He seemed to be happy. I mean, drivers are supposed to be angry at the track, too tough to tame. Riley Herbst's happy as well. Qualifying coming up on FS1.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame class of 2023 has the longest career in NASCAR history. Herschel McGriff, 4-time champion crew chief. Kirk Shelmerdine, our 2003 Cup Series champion. Matt Kenseth.
The 2023 NASCAR Hall of Fame class announced on Wednesday. That's quite a group, Michael.
Yeah, so deserving. What a accomplished group of racers. And one cool thing, Adam, I had the pleasure of getting to compete against each one of those three guys. Herschel out on the West Coast in a Winston West race, and they pretty much all beat me all the time. Maybe that's why they're heading to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, they feel okay about that. They're in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, or headed that way. Regan.
Well, Adam, a driver with a Hall of Fame driver's paint scheme this week. Dale Sr.'s 2002 Looney Tunes paint scheme on Josh Berry's car. Josh, a big win last week. I asked you how the car was today, and you had kind of a nice little grin on your face.
Yeah, no, I feel really good about our Tower Pros Camaro. These guys have been doing a great job, and I ran really well here last year, so it's nice to come back here and hopefully do one spot better. But yeah, for our practice there, we were pretty good. I feel like we were a little bit on the free side, come in and made adjustment, felt pretty good about it. Obviously, it's like I told you last week, it's hard with this stuff, man. There's so much traffic going on. You kind of just got to trust your gut, and I feel like we're pretty good.
Guys, anytime that we think about going to an old worn-out racetrack, this guy right here, more laps on old worn-out racetracks than anybody in the field.
He was pretty good on that one last week with all them banks and grip too, Regan. You can bet old Josh Berry's going to be up for the task. A great session from him. So look for big things out of him, Adam.
We're talking about the Hall of Famers, Michael, and we've got quite a group lined up to go racing here tomorrow. 3 champions in the field. Mentioned Chase Elliott, won the title in 2014. That's when he got his second career win right here at Darlington. Mentioned Reddick, who went back-to-back, winning with 2 different teams, Junior Motorsports and RCR. And, of course, the guy that did it last season, Daniel Hemrick. Then driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, now in the 11 car for Colleague Racing. And I would expect all will be players here tomorrow. Each of them inside the top 10 when it comes to practice. Qualifying underway. Here comes the first car of the session. 40 of them here this weekend. Brennan Poole in the 47.
Yeah, Adam, in our truck qualifying a bit ago, a lot of the truckers that made great time ran really low through 3 and 4. So as this session rolls forward, we'll see what the choice of line is down there. Now, in 1 and 2, they're going to be right there, every race car, right out next to that outside wall. But you got some options in 3 and 4. We'll see which way Brennan goes. And I think the next guy coming out is a pretty heavy hitter. We'll see the line that he chooses as well. Up top for Poole through 3 and 4. Nice line. Good job exiting low, coming off. Some of the guys will wrap that wall all the way around, though, so we'll follow that, Adam.
30.71 is what Poole did earlier today in practice in the opening lap of qualifying. A 30.44 for the driver out of Texas. And you said a heavy hitter coming next. This should give us a real read on what a good time will be. Chase Elliott in the 88 for Junior Motorsports.
He is certainly one of the greats all time, is Chase Elliott. This lap is probably going to be right down around a 30, I would say a 29 flattish, 20 maybe. We'll see.
30.08 is what Chase put up, his quickest lap in practice moments ago.
That looked like a pretty smooth lap. We'll see if the speed was there. 29.85.
That's a nice little pickup for Chase Elliott, Regan.
Adam, we noted in practice, A.J. Allmendinger not quite where we would have expected him in the speed charts. You see the team underneath the car right now. Actually found a problem. The spring was out of the perch. Long story short, that means the car was not handling anywhere near what he would want it to be doing because of that problem. They were able to get that spring back into the perch. No idea what they're going to have here in qualifying in just a little bit, though. Team is scrambling just a little bit. 28th in practice, as we said. not exactly where Noah wanted to be, and there's a reason for it.
And you know, Regan, as a race car driver, you're like, thank goodness you found something, because he was describing that car as almost undrivable, as was reflected by the speed that he had. So as a race car driver, you're like, man, I'm glad y'all found that. Let's go make something good happen.
Timmy Hill, third in the 13. You know, and quite a streak on the line for A.J. Allmendinger. First 10 races of the year. He's been top 10 every event and putting together quite the season. Won at Circuit of the Americas. We'll see what they do in qualifying once they get the repairs made, as Josh Bilicki hits the track, driving for Tommy Joe Martin, Cesar Baccarella. It's Alpha Prime Racing.
That car looks familiar to me. Hall of Famer Bill Elliott drove the Burger King car for Michael Waltrip Racing back in the day, 2006, actually, when we were building our team. Looked just like that. So nice job by Josh and Alpha Prime Racing.
See Josh a lot running Xfinity Cup races, and his lap here is a 30.79. And here's the teammate and car owner Tommy Joe Martin's making a rare start this year. He spent most of his time on the owner box, but deciding to get behind the wheel this weekend at Darlington, driving the 45.
That's a good looking ride, isn't it? Nice line as well. You see how the racers will just swing right out next to that outside wall. We've already seen contact in practice so far. See what this 45 car can put on the board.
Practice for Tommy Joe Martin's a 30.47. Teammate Josh Bilicki is fourth. And good one for Tommy Joe. Jumps up to second, picks up from his practice lap a 30.31. I love this throwback, Michael.
Yes, I do too. This is for our buddy Phil Parsons. You can see a little bit of a Darlington stripe on the right rear quarter panel of that SoCal Media Chevrolet for Stefan. Has to put this thing in qualifying, and he's got a hot one here. Oh, a little bit loose off, but he stayed in it.
Stefan really good in practice, top 15. 30.38 was the time, and it's fitting he follows the Alpha Prime cars because he's going to run some races for them later this year.
Oh, just almost clipped Chase Elliott until off turn 4, lost a little bit of momentum, but great run. You can see that right rear quarter panel scratched up there, but nevertheless, great job by Stefan. He'll be racing this tomorrow afternoon.
Picked up 4/10, did Stefan Parsons, and here comes our second champion onto the track that'll be racing this weekend, Tyler Reddick in the 48 for Big Machine Racing.
Wow, how aggressive is this young man? That was beautiful through 1 and 2. I talked about getting down toward that 29 flat bracket after Chase and Stefan ran. I'm not sure about that, but this looks like a really fast entry to 3, but couldn't get through the center. Here he comes back though.
Tyler was 4th in practice. He's going to pick up here and jump to the top of the leaderboard. 29.70, Michael.
Hell yeah, 29.70. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree. You ought to watch it from up here. That was beautiful. Precision driving right along that outside wall. Oh.
We're going to start locking some cars into the field now. 40 here this weekend. 33 make it on time, so you have to beat 7. And here comes our 8th qualifier. Matt Mills in the 5 for B.J. McLeod.
Back in the gas, running that low line. Not going to be the lap that Matt was hoping for.
He ends up 8th of the 8 cars that have been out. Regan?
Well, Adam, a guy that knows a lot about South Carolina, in particular Darlington, from Spartanburg, South Carolina, Jeremy Clements. Jeremy, what does this racetrack mean to you to come here and race in your home state?
Man, I love this track. It's one of my favorites. The Lady in Black, too tough to tame. We got an awesome throwback to Bud Moore out of Spartanburg, South Carolina, Dale Earnhardt. Got to thank Spartan Waste, Fox Sports Spartanburg, 98.3 FM. We're about to see this thing as fast as Xfinity Internet, but such a fun track. I love it. It's challenging at the same time, but I'm ready to tackle it.
Adam, this race car looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm getting some old throwback feelings down here.
Well, I mean, Jeremy's a throwback guy. So throwback weekend in an Earnhardt car, it just all comes together for the driver, as you said, out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. And here's the driver from Georgia, Douglasville, Georgia, Mason Massey in the 91.
Wasn't that great seeing as Massey finishes up his run? He'll go 6 fast so far. Wasn't it great seeing that huge smile on Jeremy Clements wearing that Wrangler throwback uniform? That was just a beautiful scene. That's what NASCAR this weekend is all about. That was a perfect snapshot of how much fun this weekend is for these competitors.
I just go back, and you and I have talked about this a couple of times, but after Martinsville, when he was drinking beer on pit road with Dale Jr., when Dale came back and drove the 88 that weekend, I mean, that's true throwback, right? When you're doing that at a place like Martinsville, and this weekend, a throwback in so many ways when you think about the history and tradition of Darlington. The 34 is Kyle Weatherman. He crosses the line in 4th. 10 drivers have been out. Qualifying underway for the Xfinity Series at the track Too Tough to Tame. Qualifying continues here at Darlington Raceway for the NASCAR Xfinity Series with Michael Waltrip, Regan Smith. I'm Adam Alexander. Bailey Curry is in the 4 for JD Motorsports, the 11th car on track.
Bouncing down the back straightaway, Adam. We talked about the transition from that new pavement off turn 2. Get these drivers' attention. Bailey went really low in 3 and 4. Nice turn here. Good lap going.
Tracker has him inside the top 5. And he will end up 4th, Regan.
Well, Adam, talking back about throwback schemes again. Jeb Burton has a very cool throwback scheme. Excuse me, I can't talk right now. Thrown back to your father, Ward Burton, back in 1992. A great-looking race car. Jeb, what does this car mean to you?
It means a lot, Regan. I got the shades, I got everything this weekend besides the suit. But so I started racing late model stock with the number 27. This is where it came from. And just really got to thank Solid Rock Carriers and everybody involved for allowing me to throw this back to Dad. And I didn't do a really good job running a fast lap, but in race trim, I felt like we had a top 12 car, and that's what matters. So hopefully Chad got it freed up enough, and we can go make a good run here.
Jeb knows how to get the job done at Darlington. Top 5 here in last September's race.
Yeah, he's been the model of consistency this year in that 27 for our Motorsports. You saw Patrick Emmerling go out and make his qualifying run. He is now 9th of 12 as Ryan Truex hits the track in the 18, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Really strong practice session for Truex. I don't know what's going on right now, though. Didn't sound up to speed coming to the green.
Well, the tracker, Michael, has him, way off what you would have expected out of one of those Toyotas from JGR.
Something's up for sure. Some sort of issue. He was one of the fastest cars in the 20-lap average long run pace, Adam. Team's gonna have some work to do here to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, he was 11th overall in practice as David Starr comes out. Veteran from Houston, Texas. The throwback is to a scheme that Bobby Dotter had, the car owner, when he was driving in the Xfinity Series many years ago. I like that.
You can see tracking inside the top 5 so far. See which direction he goes when he gets to turn 3. Way down low on entry. That's a decision you make, Adam. Do you go down and get low on the track, or run through the middle and let it slide up? That's the driver's preference, and it's just based on what he's feeling, how his car's handling, as to where he goes.
If you beat 7, you're in. And David Starr has done that inside the top 5 with a lap of 30.184 seconds. Kyle Sieg for RSS Racing driving the 38. Older brother Ryan will be out later in the 39.
A couple of Mustangs, and RSS Racing has done a great job in 2022 of putting their cars up toward the front. Ryan's been especially impressive.
What was it Dale Jarrett rather said? It took me 20 years to be an overnight success. I mean, you talk about what they're doing this year, Michael, but the reality is they've been laying this foundation at RSS for a really long time.
Josh Williams taking the green flag, the Florida driver. It's a good looking number 78. He's throwing it back to one of BJ McLeod's late models that he used to race, owner.
So many different layers and ways to throw it back. Sometimes it's a family member that helped get you into racing. And you saw there the caution lights are on, and you can see it now. We're getting reports of rain, and you can see it on our cameras.
When do we tell them? Yeah, you got to coast it in here. Those slick tires, we talked about how treacherous this place is anyway. And then you add a little bit of moisture, and it's gonna put things on hold in a hurry. You see Daniel Hemrick standing by. That's a frustrating time of day for a race car driver when you're trying to get qualifying in. You get one of these showers.
Tyler Reddick, the fastest for now. We'll keep you posted as Mother Nature making its presence known here at Darlington. Sunday on FS1, it's Throwback Week at the track that's too tough to tame. Memory Lane has no speed limit in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington. Coverage begins Sunday, 2 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Can't wait to have Mike Joy in the booth with Clint Boyer, Bill Elliott, Richard Petty, and Bobby Labonte. The Hall of Famer is going to be stopping by throughout the race. We look forward to that. Xfinity qualifying got about halfway through, and then the skies opened up. We have rain. They're going to try to dry this place out, finish the session. We will keep you posted on what's happening here. In the meantime, we're going to relive some great moments at Darlington. It's radioactive from the track Too Tough to Tame.